We're going to introduce our next guest now. His name is Michael Russo. He has more than 3 decades of experience in the semiconductor and solar industries. Michael has his bachelor's degrees in electrical engineering and computer science from the University of Connecticut. He joined Silicor Materials in April 2011 from MEMC Electronic Materials, where he served as Senior Director of Global Sales and formed strategic contracts with major semiconductor and solar manufacturers. Prior to MEMC, Michael worked in various engineering, marketing, sales, and business development roles with Advanced Micro Devices and Texas Instruments. Please welcome Michael Russo to the stream.
Hey, Joe, thanks for the introduction. Pretty accurate.
Hey, no problem, Mike. What's up, Charlie?
Brother, what's up?
Oh, that's my brother from a different mother. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to go. Take it away.
Cool.
Thank you.
Mike, what's up, dude?
How you doing, Charlie?
Good. So real quick, I just want to add a little bit to that. This guy is the godfather of silicon. It's Mike, he's become a brother to me, a huge mentor to me, taught me so much. Met him in 2007, and it was
been
an
that long? Wow.
It's getting it's been an absolute honor to be able to work, alongside with him, but through all the work, our friendship, and we're family now. And it's just Mike, thank you for joining us, man.
Not a problem, Charlie.
How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm not sure exactly where you want me to start, but I'd be more than happy to go any direction.
Yeah, so real quick, for anyone watching right now, just take a moment just to share this, get this out there. We're going to be listening to a living legend right now, so you want to get this out. So, so take a moment to share. Charlie Moore, KusH Wear, you ready to go? Mike?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right, so just give us a quick background. Like, what is your expertise, and how did it all tie into sustainability?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I like to say that I've gone from high tech to low tech, in the sense that, as Joe Rizzo said, my background originally was with companies like Texas Instruments and Advanced Micro Devices, which were extremely high tech companies, and then moving into MEMC and moving a little further upstream in electronics. I got into the semiconductor and wafer business, and then subsequently into silicon, and then into solar. And usually when I talk about solar, everybody says, hey, I'm thinking about putting it on my roof, or, what are your thoughts on this? And in my wheelhouse is really more upstream in the solar materials. I do understand solar. I understand the marketplace, and we could talk about that a little bit. I'm not the expert on it. There are several who claim to be experts, and I think their reports all are relatively consistent. But I'm more in the a silicon purification, which is used predominantly in the solar business, and also an upcoming market, which will be the battery business, will start using silicon as well. They've been doing research on it for probably about 15 years, and it's been somewhat of an unstable technology in the battery space. But when it does hit the marketplace in mainstream, you'll probably see a 10x increase in the ability of a battery to store charge, which will kind of solve one of the questions and one of the challenges that we've had in the solar space, which was, how do you store that energy when there is no sunlight?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to get into all right. So everyone knows the word solar now. Okay. In 2000, when I got into this, few people understood what it was. Go into educate people right now on what does it take to produce a module. How much energy does it take? Explain this process a little bit. I know I changed up that question a little bit, but you're the man for this. Well, educate the public right now.
Well, it's kind of an open-ended question, because as with any technology, there's different processes and different methodologies. But I guess basically, if you look at, even to develop a solar panel that you see on rooftops and in green fields. In order to produce that, you're going to need some energy, and that energy can come from obviously various sources, one of which could be coal. But if you look at those sources, particularly coal, that energy is spent. It's just not renewable at all. So solar right now, if you look at the overall forecast for solar and wind, because those are really my two favorite renewables. There is hydro, there is bio, and a few others as well. But solar and wind, right now, the installed base is probably about 50-50 for both of those. But just to give the public kind of a feeling, by the year 2050, they're going to represent 50% of. Well, let me backtrack. It's about the total installed base for solar versus wind is about 50%, 50%. But by 2050, the actual energy base will be satisfied by 50% of solar and wind combined, for a total of almost 2 trillion watts. We talk in megawatts or million of watts and gigawatts, billions of watts. But now, when you get up in the 2050 timeframe, you're actually talking double-digit terawatts, if you want to call it
that. Wow. So tell us about your technology and what the differentiation is. And
well, like I said, is the original intent of the technology was to target the solar space and to find a low-cost solution. At the time when my company was formed, silicon, which is the base for not only semiconductors but also solar, was probably the largest cost of building a module. The cost has come down dramatically. And as with anything else, if you're going to be competitive in the marketplace and help drive the marketplace and the marketplace growth, you've got to continue to reduce costs. So the technology that my company, Silicon Material, has developed and has proven out is a technology that is disruptive in the sense that it is much cheaper to produce than the incumbent silicon purification technologies that are either used for solar or for semiconductor space. So that is expected to go, at least the factories that we're building are expected to go into large-scale production in the 2021 timeframe. We're currently building a pilot line now and sampling various customers with the material, and they've already seen it because, as I've mentioned, we've actually proven the process. But it will allow them to actually move that cost needle, and if you bring that downstream, it helps the public in general, independent of the country that it's in, to be able to afford solar in a much more broader spectrum of the marketplace than is today. I think people right now, everybody with the electric costs are looking at trying to adopt solar in some way, shape, or form, particularly those that own residents, but they're confused as to the marketplace. There are ways of simplifying it a little bit, but if you answer one of the ads online about interest in solar, I guarantee your phone will ring off the hook for the next 3 days, and that doesn't really help you solve the problem. But again, that's not my wheelhouse. It's my objective to try to produce a material that is going to be used in solar and in battery technology for solar and electric cars and everything else that is coming down the line for as renewable. To produce it in a very, very cost-effective fashion to allow not only the manufacturers of the solar panels and the battery manufacturers to make some money, but obviously to allow the general marketplace to be able to afford solar.
That's awesome. That's awesome. By the way, so anyone who's listening in right now, you guys are really talking to a guru of technology of silicon as to why this industry exists.
Yeah. Watch out, my ego is going to explode.
And I wasn't kidding around. Everyone used to call him the godfather of silicon. They still do in the world. The guy, Mike is just he's awesome. I mean, he's put together these massive global contracts and moving this market. So if there's anyone that has any questions, you can feel free to jump in and shoot the questions, and we'll hit those. So, Mike, question for you.
Yep.
Storage, the battery storage. Okay. it's gonna become a massive, massive industry.
I
Okay.
think so. Yeah.
What should people know about it now? What should they prepare for in regards to the storage systems from what you think? Is the time now to put the storage systems in, or do you think that we're on the cusp of a new technology and of efficiencies?
Well, I think it's both, actually, Charlie. I don't think you can hold off at put. There's companies like, and again, I'm not trying to promote one company over another, but you look at Elon Musk's technology in solar and his battery business as well. You look at Sunrun, who has a program that'll put solar on your roof and put batteries in there as well. I don't think you can ignore the fact that you're going to need a backup battery for the time when the sunlight is just not there and you need emergency power. But what's going to happen with battery technology, and again, that's not my expert, but right now you're talking about primarily lithium ion, and the technology is moving more towards a silicon anode based battery, which, as I mentioned, is going to be able to hold about 10x the capacity of a standard battery. So, like with semiconductors and electronics that everybody's familiar with, everything gets smarter but smaller. Nobody wants to pay more. So I'm here so you don't pay more. Battery technology is going to get smaller and it's going to get more powerful, just like your cell phones, just like your notebook computers, just like your computers, just like your cars, everything else. I think there's a couple of standards that need to be established in the battery space so that you don't have a million different standards and no one really knows, what replacement battery to get here or how to replace a battery in an electric car. But, again, I'm not here to talk about committees for battery standards. I'm just here to basically say I think that the battery business has got a tremendous growth path ahead of it, and that the standards probably need to be set earlier than later on establishing a specific standard for whatever the battery application may be. That could be backup for solar. That could be, something for an electric car. Because that's the big challenge. I think it's not whether or not electric cars are here; they're here. It's just a matter of establishing a standard for actually replacing that battery when it meets its lifetime. And I think anybody that owns an iPhone kind of recognizes what happened there. So
Yeah. Oh, so question, Mike. All right. So I know you you landscape and you garden all the time. It's what would you say? And let's give your expert opinion. Okay. As with COVID going on right now, we're all cooped up. Okay. What would you tell people as your opinion of something that they could be doing from home right now, from just keeping them focused and proactive and positive, mentally positive? What would you say?
Oh, well, I mean, if you're lucky enough to have some property to work on, and you're not, you're obviously doing the important social distancing, then obviously getting outside and doing a little work, even though, as Charlie, we're up here in the Northeast and spring just hasn't hit yet, but it's getting close. We had a few nice days. But, as far as what could you do outside, I mean, you've got the ability to have compost piles for renewable products. You've got, rain barrel collection. You've got natural wood chips versus rubber wood chips. I mean, there's plenty of things you can do to support the renewable space and also be able to get out and do some additional work and possibly save yourself some money in the overall process. So, I mean, I'm trying to tie a little bit of the craziness associated with self-quarantine to the renewable business.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, bro. I love it. I think we're going to see a lot of consistencies of a lot of messaging similar to that. And that's what's so cool about this is the diversity of guest speakers that we're going to have. I think we're going to see that consistency of that message out there of what you just said. So, Mike, we have a question. There we go. So what is shared solar?
What is shared solar? Well, if I understand the question correctly, it's basically probably using a solar field or the power that is generated from the solar field versus like individual rooftop solar. Again, if I'm interpreting that question incorrectly, please have the individual ask the question to maybe clarify it for me. But there's really a couple of different ways from a resident standpoint that, or even from just an electricity standpoint. It doesn't necessarily have to be a resident. It could also be an apartment building that you're in. You could subscribe to a energy provider that actually offers solar that's generated from a solar farm or solar field, which would be shared, and versus having solar on your rooftop per se, and which the good thing about that is assuming that you need, I don't know, 2,000 watts per day, whatever it is, that's probably on the low side, but let's just say 2,000 watts per day for your house, but your solar panels are generating 3,000 watts per day. The good news about that is you could actually sell that excess in most states. You could sell that excess of 1,000 watts back to the electric company, which will use that in a shared fashion for other customers that they do have. So again, Charlie, I'm kind of rambling here a little bit. I'm not sure whether that's along the lines of the question that was asked.
I think you did it. I think
okay.
you.
Okay.
So, have you ever solar powered a music festival?
Have I ever solar? The question is, what are you talking about powering? Amps? I need an awful lot of solar panels in very sunny days. Maybe a lot of backup batteries.
Yeah. So, Mike, we're going to be. You want to go off with any last notes on anything? Any fun stories that any little war stories you'd like to share?
I don't know if we could talk about those online. I'm honored to be here, Charlie. Thank you for the invitation. Like I said, is that I support the renewable space very far upstream and deal predominantly with offshore clients, just because that's where the majority of the end material comes from today. I think that the United States kind of shot itself in the foot, as did Europe, with respect to manufacturing solar panels in the United States. That's a whole different story. It's pre-Trump era, so it really has nothing to do with the trade restriction or the trade problems that we are currently running into with China today. This was a trade issue back in the Obama era. So I think we kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. Maybe we'll be able to get through it. Maybe COVID will kind of level the playing fields a little bit as far as the trade war that's going on between the various countries. But if there's any other questions, happy to answer them. Even take some offline if need be.
Yeah, you got well, one is definitely want to bring you back for a round 2 interview, and we'll go really deep into the future. And really give some good insight to get people prepared. Quick question, because we have less than a minute left.
Sure.
Is it where's Rizzo's question? Here we go. What's your opinion on Tesla solar roof? Do you recommend that over traditional solar panels?
It's got its pluses and minuses. Aesthetically, it's a solution.
Yeah.
But if you look at the average solar panel today and the solar cells that are on there, the ability to convert sunlight into energy is about, on average, 20%, depending on the solar panel you get. The Tesla rooftop shingles and so forth, the efficiency is a lot less than that. But then again, the plus is your entire roof is a solar panel as opposed to just one side of it.
Section. Yeah.
So it's got its pluses and minuses. I'm not going to say go ahead and buy it aesthetically. A lot of people don't want to buy solar panels because of the aesthetics, but the rooftop tiles offer a solution. They're expensive right now, but like anything else in that space, the price is going to come down dramatically. So hopefully I didn't go over my time limit here with my answer.
No, we're good. Yeah, we're going to end it here. But Mike, thank you so much, man, for joining. Everyone, take a moment just to go to KusHwear.net, sign up to the newsletter. You'll be updated on a weekly basis of all the cool things that we're doing, all the education. Mike, thank you so much again. And Rizzo, you're up.
Thank you again, Charlie.
Michael, oh, he's gone. All right, well, that was great. I listened to the whole thing. I was backstage. I was listening to the whole thing. It's sick.